Hey again. I just did a little video about kind of how this supplemental warp section works for some people who asked. And I also had a couple people ask me if I could do a video about kind of these little inlays and sort of what I do for those. So I want to throw out a little disclaimer. I am definitely not a tapestry weaver. I just like to sort of experiment and find ways to keep myself interested while I'm weaving, and I just really like designing while I'm weaving as well as designing the project ahead of time. So I kind of do them just to keep myself entertained. And if you're a tapestry weaver, you probably know a lot more than me, and there's probably a lot of stuff that I'm doing in really weird ways. But if you're new and you just kind of want to see how I happen to do them, then I'm so very happy to show you. So what I think I'm going to do right now, unless I change my mind as I go, is I'm going to make an outline of a triangle. There's a square that I did down here, a little one. It's probably really hard to see over there. But so I'm going to do just the outline and not fill it in so that you'll still be able to see all this through here. Maybe I'll do like a little solid square or something up here. I don't know. I don't really plan. So anyway, I have two little embroidery floss things that I just grabbed at the store that seem to do a really good job for me for doing this, because most of my sections are really small and it's easy to manipulate these and keep the thread, well, yarn, but really thin yarn, nice and, sorry, I dropped it, nice and tidy, unless you drop them like me. Okay, so I have them laid going opposite ways, just so I have a nice foundation, and when I beat, you should be able to see. So I'm going to go ahead and create my shed. And beat it down. So when I'm doing my inlay work, I have found it easier to do it before I throw my regular weft, because then I only have to beat once, generally speaking. Whereas if I do it the other way, I kind of beat down my weft and then place it in and then beat it again. So that just seems to work better for me. So now I'm going to switch to my other shed, and for this I'm just going to throw my regular weft. And then I'm going to switch back. So this is just plain weave all through here, except for this part, which I explained in that other video, and I'll link it down in the description. Okay, so I want the triangle to kind of go like this and then be straight up on this side. So I am going to skip this thread that this is under, and I'm going to go to the next one that's up, which is this one. Okay? I hope you can see that. I know these are really tiny threads. So I'm going to make it kind of go diagonal. And then on this side, I am just going to keep going around the same one that it was under the first time. And that's just going to be the thread that I use to go around to make that straight up and down. And then I am going to throw my regular weft for my ground cloth. All right. And then I'm going to switch sheds and go through again with my regular weft. This is really thin yarn that I'm working with. The warp is 218 merino and the weft is 224 merino and alpaca. So it's a little fidgety sometimes because this section is really dense, and so sometimes it gets caught and I have to kind of fix my edges there. Okay, so now I'm going back to shed 1, and that means that I'm going to do this again. So I'm going to look again and find the next thread over again and slide that underneath. And then this, I'm going to go back around from the outside to the inside of that same warp thread. and then throw my weft. Okay, so I've been weaving for a little bit, and you can probably see that it's developed, so you can kind of see how it's going to look. So it will end up, I don't know, somewhere up here. But I am going to add, oh, you can see that I added this little ovally, circly thing. All I did for that was literally, as I was weaving, I put it from side to side. I left a long tail like this, and I stuck it underneath, and then when I changed sheds, then I would go and make my shape by just picking it up and putting both ends, one way and one the other way underneath. And then I'd throw my other weft and I'd beat, change sheds and do the same thing. So this would have been done on every single shed. Okay? It would have been really boring to watch though, because it's kind of a slow process on a circle. I think I'm going to do like a little square up here, but I'm going to do it every other shed so that you can see what the difference looks like. So this would be every shed, this would be every shed, and I'll show you every other shed in just a sec. Okay, so I have shaft 2 raised, so that means that I'm not working on this red part, but I am going to start my other one on shaft 2. So, so I have this purple, and I am going to look here, and I think I want it like kind of on the edge over here. So I'm gonna put it in right about here. And I'm gonna kind of pull it through and then tuck my tail in here. Wrap it around a thread and then bring it out underneath, but in the same spot that the top part's coming out. So it's just kind of tucked in there. And then I'm going to throw my regular weft pick. Okay, so now I'm going back to shaft 1. And my pattern's also changing. So I have to deal with my red. All right, and my regular weft. I got caught a little bit, so I'm just gonna fix that. Okay, and now I'm back on 2. So now I have my purple, and I'm just gonna make a square. So I'm just gonna go the same spot. There we go. And back to 1. Oops. And now 2. Just making sure it was tight in there. There we go. And 1. and 2. And I'm going to keep doing this, and then I will kind of do a little bit of a close-up to show you how that looks. It kind of gets a different look than if you were doing it every shed. So I'll finish that up and then I'll do a closer shot of it so you can see. The purple ended up being really subtle because it's pretty much the same value as the warp in that area. So it's right here. It looks really nice in person, but it just doesn't really show up on the camera very well. So I actually backed up the cloth a little bit so you can see one that I did earlier using that technique where it's every other shed. And here it is right here. That's the little triangle there. So you can see it kind of makes, I don't know, this little checky vertical stripe thing. Anyway, I think it looks kind of neat, especially when you do it in combination with the solid ones, like right here on this square here and the circle up there. So it's just another tool, another little trick to use to create some different things in your project. So that's it for now. I hope it was helpful, or that it gave you some inspiration if you're newer or really haven't tried anything like this to just kind of dive in. That's how I learned, and how hopefully I'll continue to learn, because I have a lot still to figure out. But it's really fun, and it keeps things entertaining and interesting while you're weaving. And I think it comes out pretty neat. So I hope you enjoy. Happy weaving!